薄いのアホ。
プリズムパワーメイクアップカードレディー。
Welcome to Shojo Tell, where we discuss shoujo manga and tell who's hot and who's not, talk about themes, and just generally geek out. Today, January 7th, 2024, we'll be shoujo and telling about the series Legal Drug by Clamp. I'm your host, Ashley McDonald, and I'm joined by my husband, Asher Sofman. Hello, Asher.
Hello, Ashley.
Every time come to kill me. Asher, who are you besides my husband?
Am I anything besides your husband?
No, you're just you're a little gremlin who lives in my house.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is my claim to manga anime fame. Otherwise, I am a rabbi who cooks stuff and knits, and that's it.
And that's it. And you're just so excited for Delicious in Dungeon.
Yes, I am so excited.
To be animated. Okay, I apologize that I probably sound sick because I am a little bit sick and it's kind of a struggle to talk, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it. Okay.
Okay. Should have made you some more tea.
I was like, maybe I should have got a glass of water, but that's okay. Everybody's just gonna have to hear my grosser mouth noises. This first section is going to be spoiler-free as much as possible. It's complicated. This is a 3-volume series, but there's a 2-volume incomplete sequel called Drug and Drop, and we're going to talk about it, and Ashley's going to tell us what Legal Drug is about.
Okay. So, Legal Drug is about, well, it centers on this drugstore. The main character is Kazahaya Kudo, who is a 17-year-old who has, for unknown reasons, is living on his own in Tokyo. He was sort of rescued from the elements by another 17-year-old guy, Rikuo Himura.
Yeah.
Who is big, tall,
tall, dark, and handsome.
Sure. Tall, dark, and scowls a lot. And they do these little odd jobs for the drugstore owner. God, what's his name? Kake, who is mysterious and smiley. And the one other guy who wanders in and out is Saiga, who always wears sunglasses and is also big, tall, dark, and snarky. And
is he your favorite?
No. These odd jobs are usually somewhat supernatural in nature, so I guess you could kind of think of them as paranormal part-timers.
Yeah, I was like, well, because... God, now I can't. Kazahaya. Because now Kazahaya has an ability. He's like a seer, but like a weak seer. He doesn't have control over it. He can like get into your brain if he holds your hand, and see your memories and stuff.
Oh, there's an actual name for that superpower. I think it's psychometry, where if you touch something, you can see the history of the object.
I was like, it's not
person.
A seer, actually. But
no, Kake is a seer.
Kake is a seer. And he clearly sees everything before it happens, and he just neglects to tell people. Probably because he's like, well, that would mess up. If they know, then they'll try to prevent it, and then we'll have to contemplate Hitsuzen too much, and we don't have time for that.
Yeah, it's sort of unclear how Kake's power works. We don't know too much about it, except that he is a seer. Although I don't know that... No, Kazahaya spends some time trying to figure out what Kake's power is. And I don't think he figures it out.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just telegraphed to the reader in the private moments that he has with Saiga.
Yeah. Rikuo has the power to break things without touching them. So
that comes up so little, but yes.
I know. Yeah. And we do not know what Saiga's power is, if he has any, but he finds stuff.
He cooks, he cleans, he sews.
Well, that's true. He does do those things. He also sleeps.
He sleeps.
With his sunglasses on.
Yeah, always with the sunglasses. Sunglasses
Yes.
and sleeping.
Yep.
That's Saiga. He likes S's. That's what I got out of that guy. Okay. So yeah. So basically, we just said a lot of words that equate to this is crappy holic.
I feel like it's a step between it's a bridge between the likes of Ducleon and Holic. It's a transition.
Okay. Well, yeah, so this series initially ran, not including Drug and Drop, from 2000 to 2003. And so the publication of it overlaps with Angelic Layer, Showbits, Marie Curie, which I think is just a one shot. So like they just did that. And then like maybe Suki. I didn't click into Suki to see exactly if like, you know, it says that they were both running in 2000, I think. But I don't know if it's like Suki ended and then Legal Drug begins. I didn't like clarify that. So all of those things in this come out right before Holic and Tsubasa begin. And as mentioned before, this like is like it's listed as complete, but it's not. Because then there's Drug and Drop, which is clearly like the way that this story ends doesn't, there's no, and it's just like there was a longer story like before it had been being episodic. And then we read an omnibus, but so basically like volume 3 is like one longer story, but that doesn't relate to any of the mysteries that have been like long-term set up, right? So like clearly Drug and Drop probably picks up the long-term mysteries again, but it also was never completed and has been on hiatus since 2013, and it started like 8 years after this one completed. It's Clamp. Thanks, Clamp. We love you. And I think the only other big thing to note is like Legal Drug ran in shoujo magazines, so it is considered a shoujo, but Drug and Drop ran in Young Ace, which is technically a seinen magazine. So gender is a figment of your imagination. Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm wondering if like Drug and Drop is less blatantly shippy.
Oh,
I wonder.
Like less homoerotic everywhere.
Yeah. It was real strong.
It was so strong. Okay. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, just like the Holic vibes are really strong anyway, both from a story perspective and a character design perspective.
Well, I have thoughts about that, but we'll talk about it later, I think.
Okay. So, Asher, to let the people know just generally whether we're noobs and rubes or, you know, experts, what is our level of familiarity with this? Because I feel like I don't think I read all 3 volumes back when they came out, but I'm pretty sure I did read volume 1 like way back in the day, you know?
I don't think I read any of it.
Okay. So you speed
read
read it once today.
Yes. I speed read it this morning before you woke up.
That's good, because I'm clearly doing great. I've been having a technology day and I'm sick, so I'm doing great. Anyway. So, you know, okay, so we are not experts. That's what we're saying. We just read this series as lay people who were into Clamp back in the Clamp heyday. Okay? We're not Clampcast. Go listen to Clampcast for that. Asher.
Yes.
Did you like this?
I was intrigued to see where it was going. know? I was interested in the mysteries, and I actually thought it was perhaps a better paced, like feeding us the backstory mysteries than a lot of their stuff has been.
Like it always made sure to return to home base mystery for a long bit there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, did I enjoy these 3 volumes? Like, they're meh, is what I would say. Like, I think I may have enjoyed it a little more than you did, but I wasn't like wowed. And I wasn't wowed by the art either.
Okay. That's good to know, because definitely when I was reading it, I was like, this feels more empty than a lot of Clamp series. Like the attention to detail was not there, I felt. And yeah, like there are some times where the characters, I'm like, that's not in the like way that Clamp used to draw the shoulders and the heads, and the proportions don't make sense, right? Like they clearly were doing a style, right? But there were points in this where it was like, that's just not how shoulders work, you know? Like it was not.
Yeah.
It was
there
weird.
Was some lazy anatomy, I think, where they weren't thinking about how the bodies take up space in a 3D world.
And I think that they were more lazy about drawing the backgrounds and the 3D world to begin with.
Maybe so.
Yeah, you probably did enjoy it. I don't know. It made me really grouchy. Like this like homoeroticism going on in the beginning, and just like tonally it couldn't decide if it was dark or funny or like I was like, I'm not here for this. Sick brain is not here for this, you know?
Yeah. I'm okay when things are both dark and funny and kind of swing through those extremes. Maybe I have more tolerance for it than you.
Yeah, I don't think I never like it. I just think that you do have to like very carefully balance it, you know? And you kind of have to lean towards one more than the other. And I just felt like it was like, didn't know which one it really wanted to be.
Yeah. I feel like careful is not a word that they to apply to any part of Legal Drug.
Yeah. I guess I regret that we didn't read Suki first, even though I know that Suki is also like not, I've heard that it's not good, right? But it did come out first, and then the main character like appears in one of these chapters. So, but I don't believe we have Suki, or that it's, maybe it is easily available. I just need to look that up. I'm getting lost, you know, in the weeds.
Yeah, and like, even though she appears, it didn't seem like it actually mattered to the plot. It was just a fun little cameo.
Yeah, no, it was just like, here she is. Here's her name. I'm sure like her weirdness, her particular Clamp weirdness made more sense if you, you know, had read Suki, but like it doesn't really matter because it's the same Clamp weirdness, right? Of like weirdly innocent person doing a taboo thing in a cruel world that, because they're kind, ends up being fine, right? Like,
right.
I think I just summoned, oh, Suki is available digitally. Okay, I guess we know what we're purchasing after this podcast.
Alrighty.
All right, you guys like hearing me work out my own podcast on air. It's fun, right? Okay, so I don't think, either of us, it sounds like neither of us is like, you really need to go read this unless you're trying to read all the Clamp things like we are, which Asher and I had a discussion the other day about trying to, you know, work through one artist or one studio or whatever, one thing's like whole, you know, art creation, and how valuable that is to you as a person and as a society. And yeah, you know, so you do you. I think it's valuable. But I'm also like not telling you to read Legal Drug, where 17-year-olds are employed in a drugstore if you have better things to do with your life.
Yeah, I feel like if Drug and Drop were finished, I might recommend it to certain people, but like with it hanging in the air, and like I haven't read Drug and Drop, so I don't know, like I don't even know if these mysteries get addressed again. But like the thing that was intriguing me was not resolved by the end of Legal Drug, so I cannot recommend Legal Drug on its own. And knowing that Drug and Drop is unfinished, like I wouldn't leave y'all hanging like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it reminds me of, I think I said this to you privately, but it's like a QQ sweeper Queen's Quality situation, except Queen's Quality has continued going and hopefully will complete without going on a never-ending hiatus or whatever. But it's definitely that situation where it's like QQ sweeper is technically complete, but like, it's really more like a prequel, like a setup to this longer story that should have been, and in this case is not. So anyway, if you still want to read Legal Drug, I don't know how easy it is to get it physically, but you can still get it digitally from Dark Horse on all the digital platforms. I think I bought it for like $5, which is the right price. Okay, so now we're gonna spoil all of the things. Question mark, question mark, question. Can you spoil the unfinished story? I don't know. We're gonna do it.
I think you can.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll do our best.
We'll do our best to do it. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. We're gonna spoil all the things. Here's the spoiler warning. If you don't want to know those things, pause.
Wee woo, wee woo.
If you have read Legal Drug or don't care, continue. All right. So we're going to begin with our standard character walkthroughs so that we can establish their particular weirdnesses some more and talk about some of the bigger moments or motivations that happen within the series. So, Kazahaya.
Okay. Before we even get there, I really wish I had never learned that Clamp was obsessed with Jotaro Kujo and Noriaki Kakyoin from
Then how would you
JOJO'S
ever
Bizarre
understand
Adventure.
any of this stuff?
I know. It was really hard going through those first few pages not to be like, okay, this is another one of their Jotaro Kakyoin fanfics. It's the same hair. It's the same builds again. And when before we could actually figure out their personalities, it was just so, I was like, Kakyoin isn't like this. Jotaro isn't really like this either.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't really know anything about it, but I do know that Wish was the more blatant one, and now thinking about the hair and people in that, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Wish came out first, right? It's older Clamp style.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I feel like they've taken, going like, if this were, a series of fanfics, right? It'd be like, they have been doing this so long that they have changed who the characters are.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually a little bit distracting at the beginning of this for me.
Like they've changed who the characters are. They changed the drawing style, but not like the overall like aesthetics.
You can still tell that it's Jotaro and Kakyoin, and Kazahaya's last name is Kudo, which is probably just one of those little diacritical marks away from Jotaro Kujo's last name.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I have to say to that.
Yeah. Well, then it makes sense that I really didn't like this because I really didn't like Wish either.
Right.
And they stem from the same place, it sounds like.
I really felt it in this one. I feel like Wish, they were so the personalities were so different from Jotaro and Kakyoin that I was like, okay, whatever. They just like this aesthetic. Here, I was like, why? Why? Why are there
like,
two?
Please put this
two
on AO3.
copies? No, why are there 2 copies of Jotaro and Kakyoin in this manga in this drugstore? Anyway.
Well, aren't there 3? Because then Muko Fujiwara comes.
See, Nayuki was different enough that I was like, okay, that's a different character.
Yeah, you were like, Muko Fujiwara didn't fall under this.
There were three Jotaros, but only 2 Kakyoins.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, when we get to Tsubasa, there are 3 of everyone, so it's gonna be fun.
You're right. It's training. This is also a bridge.
This is training. It's training. We're ramping up. We're ramping up. Okay, that's what's up. All right. So, would you like to talk about Kazahaya as a person named Kazahaya Kudo now?
Yes. Sorry. Kazahaya. I bet he annoyed you.
Why would you say that? Okay, wait. I think that he probably has the most interesting, weird backstory that, you know, didn't see the light of day here.
Okay.
Like, I'm like, oh yeah, please tell me more about your creepy relationship with your sister that you were locked in a house with because you all have weird, creepy, supernatural powers in a world that clearly that's not the normal thing, right? Like, what's going on here? You know?
Right.
Tell me more about how the heteronormativity, like, heteronormativity is already bad. Incest, they're like, okay, we can't go too far. We can't do incest, but, you know, homoeroticism, okay. But yeah, no, he's a weak little annoying boy.
All right. So for those who aren't familiar, Kazahaya is I guess he reacts very strongly to things, and he's very naive on account of never having really left his house, never having spent time with people other than his sister, Kay. It seems that he and his sister, there was some sort of situation where it was going to be only one of them could either survive or succeed or something. And so Kazahaya left home, even though he had promised his sister that they would always be together.
Yeah, like his sister wanted to always be together.
Yes.
And I guess he did too, but then he didn't want to.
But yeah. I suspect that it would have been one of them will die.
Yeah.
So he left and then didn't know how to survive on his own and almost died under a Christmas tree. He has the power to touch things and sometimes see its past, and it works with people as well. And he's just, I'm okay with him.
I enjoyed the last extra story where it was like, you know, Rikuo was like, ugh, why do I have to live with this man? Ugh, he doesn't know how to do anything. And then he was like trying to teach him how to make the rice and stuff, and he just pours out all the rice and everything. And I was like, yes, I want to know about how actually stupid he is. Like, this isn't just a joke. Like, this man has never done anything in his life and doesn't know how to do it because he's lived in a secluded something with his weirdo sister, you know?
Yeah. Rikuo was like, have you ever done chores? And Kazahaya was like, no. And I was like, all right, at least he's honest about it.
Yeah. He's privileged and he knows it now, except now he's poor. No. How the tables have turned.
Yeah. And actually that's important to the story, is that he will do anything for money because he will do anything to continue living on his own and not go home.
So he does shady jobs.
Yes, he does shady jobs.
With no questions asked.
Yeah.
Never asks a question. He's so annoying. Why is he like this? I know why he's like this. Clamp. The thing that I described earlier.
Like yeah. Give us the deeper story.
But give me the deeper reason.
Yeah. All right. Anything else about Kazahaya?
He's like the wind.
Right.
He's gonna go away. I definitely just kept thinking about Kazahaya from Kimi ni Todoke. Every time I read his name, I was like, nah.
No, every time that memory came back up where his sister talks about her being afraid that he'll disappear like the wind, I was like, oh, the famous line from Ecclesiastes, everything is vanity. The word there is chevel, which is often translated as breath or wind or something. So I doubt it was an actual reference to Bible, but
Hey, clamp is deep. What do you mean?
clamp is deep, but I don't know that they're deep into Bible. I'd expect that more from like karaoke or something.
Okay, well, so how did you think about Rikuo to Kazahaya? You know, how do you think of his personality meshing with Kazahaya's?
Oh, I mean, definite Domiki Watanuki vibes there.
Yeah. Like just both of them combined.
Yeah, and it's not like Kazahaya has Watanuki's personality. It's just their dynamic is very similar, where Rikuo is quiet and protective, but will tease, his more reactive partner, when he can.
Yeah.
Rikuo, I'm actually more interested in his mystery, because who is Tsukiko to him?
Yeah,
right?
we didn't even get this. Yeah.
So Rikuo's thing is that he's looking for a woman named Tsukiko, who it seems has been really violently murdered, but he believes is still alive. And we don't know too much more than that. She haunts his memories. He did come to find their apartment, her apartment, his apartment. He did find, when he meant to, was supposed to see her, came to a room that was just splashed with blood.
Yeah.
At some point in his past, and has been looking for her ever since.
And Saiga is also trying, spends a lot of time trying to find leads about Tsukiko.
Yes. Well, I think that's probably the deal that Rikuo made with the two of them, is he helps them and they keep looking for her.
Mm-hmm.
Because Saiga has leads or powers that Rikuo doesn't. Yeah, I'm there wasn't enough there for me to super love him as a person, just sort of his... I'm intrigued by the, is it a murder case?
Of course.
Of course. I love a mystery.
You love a good mystery. So, Kake and Saiga.
So...
the loving old gay couple.
They're not even old. They are definitely a gay couple.
What do you mean? They're old in the same way that Raven and Tales of Vesperia is old.
Right. Raven, who is 35.
Yes.
I don't even think these guys are 35. Yeah, so I saw them and I was like, okay, so this is Kazahaya and Rikuo from the future. Came back in time to set things in motion to get them together.
Ooh.
I was like, they have the same hair, just parted in a different direction.
You're right. Oh gosh. I'm like, that can't be possible, but I'm like, knowing Clamp, I'm like, that's definitely what it is.
I definitely thought it for a very long time. I still hold this theory, but I hold it more lightly.
Well, it can be whatever you want now because they're never going to finish it. You can make the ending that you want.
Yeah, well, I don't want that, really. So, Kake.
Why is he employing 17-year-olds in a drugstore?
Well, he said that he made this drugstore to protect,
How is this legal?
That's within the paradox of legal drug.
You're right. Taking the drug every day causes poison. What is the drug?
I don't know. they spent the drugstore itself is so inconsequential to the story that I don't know.
I know, but what's the drug of the title? The ultimate mystery.
Gay love, probably.
Gay love. Heats Zen.
Hope. I don't know.
The only thing stronger than fear.
Yeah, like none of the characters left a hugely strong impression on me.
No.
Yeah, Kake is who's a good comparison? I mean, he's speaking of tales, he's Jade, the necromancer.
He's Jade. Oh man, I guess.
Except prettier.
Prettier. Okay. Well, I think that the biggest question through both of these pseudo couple, I would say that Kazahaya and Rikuo are not a couple. Kake and Saiga definitely probably are a couple.
Yeah.
And the next two we're going to talk about want to be a couple, maybe?
Okay.
But just overall, would we say now that this series is queerbaiting?
Ooh. No, I wouldn't, because I would say it's just straight up queer.
I don't agree.
That's fine. I wouldn't say that it's portraying healthy queer relationships or being very, like, it's both being very explicit in some ways about particularly, like, let's call it like it is. It's gay men, right?
Yes.
Very explicit about, like, boys being into boys and doing, participating in cross-dressing and whatever as like queer activities in a way we might decouple now in 2024. But yeah, no, like I think that Rikuo and Kazahaya are clearly meant to become a couple. And whether or not they end up explicitly together or not would sort of sway me on whether this is queer baiting or not. But I don't know. I felt like the next couple we're talking about is clearly a couple. And Kake and Saiga are like pretty coupley.
Okay. I guess for me it was like, yeah, because Kazahaya and Rikuo are not a couple and I never got like serious vibes. Like Rikuo is teasing, but I don't actually feel the vibes there, But every chapter art is so homoerotic about it.
Right.
And I was just like, no. And then I guess to your point that it's like, it's pretty queer, but I wouldn't say it's healthy. I think this is more what I was trying to say earlier. So for like Nayuki and Muko Fujiwara, like discussing their story, Nayuki, so you're saying it's like really overt about boys being into boys. But I think the reasoning is like,
oh yeah, no,
dark,
it's garbage,
right? Like
it was dark and it was gender essentialist, and
yeah,
I was like, oh,
yeah. So like we meet. No, so I'm trying to set up the mystery. So like overarching thing was like Kazahaya and Rikuo had to go pretend to be students at this all boys school because they had been hired to retrieve the ring that's so precious to the school overall. And then after they've been there for 3 days, they find out that there's a timeline because the ring only comes out once a year, like at the school's cultural festival and as a celebration of like the seniors graduating and stuff. And it turns out that it's like a marriage ceremony ring. And people in the school basically, at this all boys school, vote for like the prettiest boy to be the bride who gets the ring for the day or whatever. And so Kazahaya is like roommates with the vice president, who is Nayuki, who is this nice, sweet, like cute little boy, basically.
He'll say witty and cynical things, but with a sweet smile.
Yeah. And so like everybody loves him and thinks he's like cute and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But so he's the one who is constantly like explaining to Kazahaya, who's like, why do you do this ridiculous ritual where you make a man dress up as a woman and become a bride? Like, I don't understand at all. And, you know, Nayuki's like, well, it makes sense. Men are so horny. Like, he just blatantly is like, men are so horny.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's like, it makes sense that when you're pent up together in the mountains, like, that you do these things that could otherwise be described as taboo. And so in my mind, I guess I was linking that back to like Kazahaya and Kei, like in their situation, where it started to feel like, yeah, like it started to feel a little incesty, but it was like because they're cramped up together, presumably like they're trapped in that house. So like there are no choices, like sexuality is just a thing. It has to go somewhere, right? Like that was overall the vibe I got from both of those stories. And so then like Nayuki eventually brings up like, yeah, like it's that Kazahaya is like, wow, this school is so luxurious. We each get our own shower. And Nayuki's like, yeah, that's a recent development. But it's still nice to go take a bath at the communal baths every once in a while, but then keeps making, you know, allusions to how sexy it is to be with other naked men and everything. Then it turns out then Nayuki brings up like, oh, people like get raped in there. And of course, Kazahaya is like, wow, why are we like talking about this?
That was actually the one thing I appreciated was that Kazahaya sternly came out and was like, no, that's wrong. And whether or not you're pent up in the mountains and have these supposedly natural urges to have fun and explore sexuality, like rape is wrong.
Yeah. And I think Nayuki was taken aback by the strength of the response. Not that he disagreed, but, you know, it turns out that the reason for why they get showers is because Nayuki was he was a rape victim in the baths. So they like changed school policy because, you know, he was vice president and the president, Muka Fujiwara, like knew about this and was trying to comfort Nayuki through this hard time. And so, like, yeah, I don't know. Just like the fact that it's so dark and it's like the reason for all of their urges seem to be like there are no other choices. This energy needs to go somewhere. So this is where it goes. Just made me be like, man, this is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, I actually liked Nayuki and Muka Fujiwara's like contained longer story. Like, the most. It felt like, you know, the most tonally consistent, and we were following something for a while, so it felt refreshing.
I think it was that, and I think it actually took a serious subject seriously and didn't totally, like, it showed how the best of intentions can be harmful, which isn't something, you know, every story like that, or every story even, is like brave enough and smart enough to do. So, like, in the story, there appears this ghostly figure that gets in the way of Kazahaya getting the ring, essentially, and also, like, just like, you know, getting jealous of Kazahaya when he gets close to Rikuo, really.
Yeah.
because Rikuo is made to sort of look like, I cannot pronounce this man's name without looking at it.
Muka Fujiwara.
Thank you, Muka Fujiwara. And it turns out that this is actually Nayuki, right? That's his name. Oh, you have it written down. Thank you. This is Nayuki's...
I hope I put it right, because that's going to be awkward.
This is Nayuki's repressed longing and hurt and wish to be with Muka Fujiwara, acting out without his conscious consent, conscious permission. So I liked that aspect. I think you're talking about how all the boys have these repressed urges repressed sexual urges.
Mhm.
And here is this repressed need for love and safety and wanting to be with someone that also turns into violence and destruction and theft.
Yeah. Straight up stole that class ring.
Sure did. And Muka Fujiwara knew it was Nayuki and was trying to help him in such a way that he wouldn't get kicked out of school. And so I liked that aspect of it. I feel like perhaps, it's been done before, and perhaps done before by Clamp. Like, I'm sure there was a story kind of like that in Tokyo Babylon, probably. But I feel like, it was one of the better stories in Legal Drug, and was I think in that story we were starting also to see Kazahaya and maybe not Rikuo. We were starting to see Kazahaya like become more curious and thoughtful and empathetic.
Because he had to interact with people who didn't overtly have powers and didn't know that he had never gone to school, been a normal person.
Right. And wasn't it in that volume also that he, he sort of apologized or said, if you need help, I'll be there, to Rikuo?
Maybe?
There was a change, a slight change happening in Kazahaya that we didn't get to see play out all the way through because Legal Drug ends so abruptly.
It basically ends after this story.
Yeah.
That doesn't, again, resolve the overarching mysteries of who is Tsukiko? What happened to her? What happened to Kazahaya's sister? Like, what was going on with his entire situation?
Yes. What cult was he living in?
What cult was he living in? Tell me. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think overall Clamp is usually good at these kinds of stories where it's like they're exploring different versions of love, and a lot of that is darkness, but some of it is healthy and freeing. And I guess, just because Legal Drug was really going heavy in like a dark direction, but trying to hold on to this comedy act, and also is incomplete, right? It's like, okay, this isn't like landing for me. This is not peak Clamp exploration of this topic.
No. It's not even peak Clamp like gay stuff.
No.
No.
On a silly note, since I think this is overall, I mean, like, I was also just so bothered by like all the sex metaphor. Like, I'm a Catholic prude, like a first story where it was like, here's a tree surrounded by fish. He gets out of this by touching a condom. Like, I was like, stop. The fig tree is a metaphor of a tree that has fruit but doesn't flower. So it's about love that can never, like succeed. I was like, I can't.
I don't understand about the tree and the fish. I understand the metaphor of the fig tree because it was explained in the book.
I was just like, those also seem like Garden of Eden-y, semen, sexy crap to me.
Okay. I did not. I was just like, why are there fish here? That's weird.
That was the assumption I made about that. I also was like, if you cut a fig, it kind of looks like a vagina, probably, like if you cut it down the middle the right way. I was like, shut up.
I was also thinking about how figs actually do not become figs unless a wasp gets inside and dies in there.
Why did you remind me, damn it?
If I have to suffer with that knowledge, so do you.
Oh no, I did a great job not having to think about that. Yeah, so how does that fit into the
Well, there was a guy inside of that tree.
That's true.
He gave that world life, and now he's dead.
I was also like, I don't think that's what fig trees look like, but okay, Clem.
I was not studying the tree very
I was like, that's not
much.
what the leaves look like. Do they get that big? I'm not. See, I was all like out of it. Like from the start, I was like, I'm not down.
Fig tree leaves do get pretty big.
Yeah. But I feel like in the story, they were portrayed as like regular deciduous leaves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like you would find in like an oak or something. I'm like, no. They're much bigger. We know.
Yes, we know. We have a fig tree.
We have a fig tree, and we had like 7 others that were trying.
Trying to be fig trees.
Trying to be fig trees, and we were like, this is not the right place for you. Even the one we have, we're like, that's not exactly the right place for you, but you're pretty big, and you give us figs, so we'll allow it. Anyway, fig tree tangent. Okay. Briefly, so do you want Kazahaya and Rikuo to be a couple? Well, from a queer baiting perspective, you're like, if they are, then it's not queer baiting.
Yes. I don't know that I want them to be a couple just because I don't have enough of a sense of either of them.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think that they actually like each other. I think it would be purely like a sexual thing. And I'm like, no.
No, see, I think if they did get together, it would be because they like each other. They're starting to get to know each other and appreciate each other as human beings and not just like annoyances. I actually don't know that Kazahaya is that into how Rikuo looks. He's starting to be like, I haven't seen him be super interested in men or women. He's sort of just reciting, it seems to me, that like obviously men should be sexually attracted to women. So like I'm supportive of him figuring out like what does or doesn't work for him. I do think they should have a better relationship. I don't know that I need it to be romantic, except that if it is, then it's not queer baiting.
Yeah. Do you like Kake and Saiga?
It seems like they're perfect for each other. Do I like them? No. So it's hard to like them together because I feel like, you know, I don't need that creepy older men teasing the 17-year-olds. I just don't need it.
You know, what?
Creepy older men teasing the 17-year-olds, especially whom they have like financial power over and like housing power.
Yeah. Yeah, the dynamics are not great.
But like the dynamic between Kake and Saiga, like sure, that seems fine.
Okay, wait, I gotta say the one moment of teasing where so you know the first story, Saiga teases Kazahaya by like giving him that condom and everything. But then there's a later moment where he puts something down Kazahaya's shirt and Kazahaya is like, this is a condom again. And it turns out to be a Kit Kat. And they had written very explicitly on the wrapping that it was a Kit Kat and that it was a big cat.
Product placement.
I was like, wow, did they pay you for that? Is that allowed? Is that allowed? That's very Japan, first of all, for it to be a Kit Kat. But then I was like, you didn't have to turn it into a cat kit, you know? It didn't have to be something else. Good for you, Clamp. Y'all are like, we just stole the JOJO'S Bizarre Adventure character designs, made our fanfiction real, and put in Kit Kats, whether Kit Kat wanted to be associated with us or not. What a power move.
Is it a big Kit Kat because Saiga's...
Oh, is it because it's big down there? Yeah.
Big.
Yeah. Duh. But Kit Kats are also a sexual metaphor for sure.
What isn't?
What is it in this series? That's what I'm saying. Okay. So we've done a lot of clamp stuff at this point, but you know, we keep being like, we're so close to our goal. And then every time we go over what we still have left to do, we're like, why are there still so many things left to do? So it's a bit of both, I guess. So Once again, I think we should do our ranking. You never write yours down, so you probably contradict yourself. But I I went and took mine from a previous document of the last thing that we did. But so here are all the things that we have covered on this podcast, just in order of how we did them. And Asher was on all the episodes except Cardcaptor Soccer. But that's okay. He knows all the things.
I do know Cardcaptor Sakura.
He knows Cardcaptor. Everybody knows Cardcaptor Sakura, so it's okay. So here's what we did. We went Cardcaptor Sakura, Magic Knight Rarearth, Tokyo Babylon. So we did all the heavy hitters immediately. Then we did Wish, Angelic Layer, Rig Veda, Chobits, Man of Many Faces, Duke Leon, Clamp School Detectives, and now Legal Drug. And so for me, how I would rank these, again, I think there's a little, there's a lot. So there's a little room for some of them to probably, this is not an exact science for me, right? But God tier is still Tokyo Babylon. Tokyo Babylon is my favorite thing so far. I think it's very smart and good. Things that I like include Magic Knight Rarearth in a rough order of likeness, right? So Magic Knight Rarearth at the top, Cardcaptor Sakura, Man of Many Faces, Clamp School Detectives, Duke Leon. Third tier is things that I didn't like so good. I could have skipped this if I wasn't reading all of Clamp, right? Legal Drug, Angelic Layer, Ichango Boom, Get On My Face, Rig Veda, too like dark high fantasy for me. Chobits, as you can see, I have an issue with slimy sexiness, so Chobits. Wish, just very silly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fanfiction that I don't understand.
Having JoJo's background does not help, by the way.
No, it seems like it might make it worse, but whatever. Asher, what is your rough ranking? Magic Knight Rarearth.
Yes,
I'll start
Magic
it off
Knight
for you.
Rarearth still at the top.
Magic Knight Rarearth forever and always.
It really is just a formative story for me, and I still like its message. Yeah. Card Captors and Tokyo Babylon up there beneath it.
I love that we've done only middling Clamp since then.
Gosh. Man. Okay.
You're like, they're all equally crappy after that.
No, there are differences, but it's just really hard to be like, well, which ones really bothered me and which ones am I conflating? And which ones am I wearing nostalgia goggles for? I think I will still put Chobits and Angelic Layer somewhere in the middling thing. Like, yeah, Chobits is gross, and I don't know about the ending, but it still made me think a lot.
You activated a lot of brain cells.
Yeah. And Angelic Layer was just like, I mean, it wasn't formative for me, but I really enjoyed it at the time when I was much younger.
Yes, when you were a young lad.
Yes. I'll put Rig Veda up there-ish as well, just because I love me some fantasy politics. I don't super love most of the characters in Rig Veda.
Yeah.
And the ones that I do like, I hate what happened to them. But, like, I could read that again, maybe. Man of Many Faces. Actually, okay, Man of Many Faces is definitely above Rig Veda.
I was like, that one was cute.
Yeah, that one was good.
Yeah.
That one might even be above Angelic Layer. I would have to go look at both of them again. Clamp School Detectives, Duke Leon.
Wish, Legal Drug at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm like, which one do I dislike more? Legal Drug, Wish.
It's fair.
Yeah. I think my tops and bottoms end up pretty much the same each time. It's the middle that moves around because I can't remember anything.
Yeah. That's fair. And like roughly we agree, but
yeah, where we differ are things where we have like particular personal hang-ups.
Yeah. All right, well that's it. We did it. We did legal drug.
And now you can watch an Eggles game.
And now I can watch an Eagles game in back home. All right. Well, thanks for listening to Shojo Tell. Comments, questions, constructive criticism, concerns. You need to tell us about how we're very wrong about legal drug. Email shojoandtell@gmail.com or leave a comment on the episode's YouTube page. We're at Shojo Tell on Blue Sky, Tumblr, and Instagram. You cannot find Asher on the internet or in MeetSpace. Are you excited every time you see a new episode from us? If so, please consider leaving a rating on Apple Podcasts, or I think you can leave like a star review on Spotify, or, just skeet about us. This will help the podcast reach more hearts, or at least ears. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next time for maybe Shirahime show to keep going on our clamp quest. We have done so many, yet there are still so many to do, as mentioned. And we do already have Shirahime show, and it is very short, so we could probably do it very quickly. Just A++. But also, I don't think this will be the next episode, but I have a concrete plan to do Evangelion Angelic Days, which will be a very special episode because I will do it with my high school friend who I've mentioned is my Cyborg 009 buddy. That's what connected us. But he's deep into Evangelion, so I'm gonna make him read it and discuss it with me. He has already agreed it's gonna be fun. Also, with Asher, I have decided to stop overtly torturing him all of the time and try to prioritize doing one of his favorite shoujo manga, which is Snow White with the Red Hair.
Yes.
Doing at least 2 episodes, like volume 1 through 10 and then volume 11 through 20. I know that it's still ongoing, but I think that's fine. We can do it while it's coming out in chunks of 10. And Asher is just so into Snow White with the Red Hair. I'm gonna throw him this bone.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe the next episode will be none of those things I just mentioned, but those are the things that I'm planning right now. But I'm attracted to shiny objects every once in a while, so who knows? Who really knows? But you now have a little taste of where my brain currently is. So whatever it is, I hope you stay tuned. Until then, bye.
Bye-bye.